here outside the Apple Carnegie Library at Mount Vernon Square. Not to buy anything, because as part of the May Day protests, I am not buying anything. Even though I really need a new pair of headphones because mine went through the dryer. That can wait until tomorrow in order to protest this regime. But that doesn't mean I can't go into the 2 free exhibits that they have at Apple Carnegie. Let's take a look. I'll never forget the day, I think it's 3 years ago at this point, that Otakon spilled out onto the lawn here, and that was so awesome because I got to see a bunch of amazing costumes. I'm so glad that Apple, whatever you think of them as a company, preserved the architecture of this amazing building from 1903 that has been on the Register of Historic Places since 1969. So I'm just going to circle around a bit and let you appreciate that. Couldn't have picked a more gorgeous day, by the way. I also appreciate how they handled the landscaping here. Especially in the spring with flowers blooming, my goodness. So there are 3 ways that Apple is maintaining the spirit of a public library here at Carnegie. First of all, they have free lessons on everything from photography to video editing with iPhone and their products. No surprise there, that would probably have happened in any place that they owned. But also, upstairs is the DC History Museum, and then downstairs is a short gallery of the original history of the building. So let's go. We can see one of those lessons going on now.
How this works. For adjustment tools, you have 12 different tools available for you to enhance the quality of your photo. As a painter, I'm going to show you my secret. My friends like, oh my gosh, Alex, your photos are so beautiful. How did you edit them? So I'm going to show you what is the recipe that works for me. The easiest way, 3 steps. The first one. The first tools that you're going to notice here, exposure, brilliance, highlights, shadows, contrast and brightness, and black point are all about light. Remember we talked initially about light? So if you look at your photo and you think about light, do you like the light in this photo? Do you think it's too dark, too bright? So you can either start anywhere, but I really love to start with shadows. You'll see why. So find one of them, the slider. So this add more shadows, or if you want to go the opposite direction, you can reduce the shadow. I kind of like the shadows.
I don't know how well I captured that because of filming through an iPhone camera, but hey, I did not know that, and I haven't really experimented with shadows or brilliance so much and still got really great photos. So, thank you, Apple, for that lesson. Well, looks like somebody forgot to pair their controller. Let's see. Can I not? Huh. That doesn't appear to do. Ooh. I guess it ended the demo before I could even try it on Apple TV 4K, which I have had in the past a couple of times. But because the quality of the games was fairly basic on the Apple Arcade subscription, usually just ad-free versions of already existing mobile games, I really did not get into it. And I also mainly used this for Nebula. So when I got my mini PC, I ditched that, and I'm glad I did, because that is a much better way to get Nebula on the big screen. Yeah, it may have been a while since I played with a DualSense controller, but that seems to be doing something. It just doesn't want to play with the game for some reason. Oh well. I love my iPad Mini 7, but dang if this isn't a art gallery of its own. Well, this is nostalgic for me because my first couple of videos on this channel, my first 2 episodes of Sunny Redemption Sailing, were very focused on the Apple Vision Pro and the experience of demoing it. That first episode, I did not capture my co-host's response effectively, unfortunately. But, well, it was a fun product to try out for 2 weeks. I would not have paid $3,500 for it, and that seems to be the consensus. Oh, headphones. If only I didn't have to boycott you. I usually am very persnickety about headphone quality for 20 bucks. But, well, I have to support this boycott. It's May Day. And I can hear music underwater for another day. One of the things I really appreciate about the interior design here is that Apple kept the original shelving for wall accents, which is really cool. Really adds a splash of color to each window. I also like the gold accents of famous English authors on the wall. That's a really neat touch. It probably is original and just restored, but I'd have to check. I am not a fan of these doors because from the outside, it looks like this should be a pull handle. Down to the Carnegie Gallery. I will do my best to record the Smartify bits. First, I'll quietly film each art piece without any Smartify scans, so you can appreciate it for yourself. Again with the doors being weird. Anyway. You wouldn't think steel beams would be supporting a huge marble building like this, but, well, that is the case. Looks really cool. Votes for women. You would think that would be obvious, but, well, there are several GOP proposals right now to create essentially a household voting system, including the Save America Act, which is ridiculous and will never pass. Much needed water since it's been very hot today. Always nice to have water bottle refilling stations. Again, so glad Apple put money into restoring this facade. So beautiful. I get what they were going for with the AR app, but a centerpiece here with a 3D...
You can whisper in your phone, we'll hear.
Some random lady had a bug up her butt, but anyway. It's just a very echoey place. I'm sorry if I was loud. Anyway, it would be really nice if they were able to fill out the space a little bit more with a 3D diorama of the library. Because unfortunately, the AR app needs connection to recognize anything, and bandwidth is terrible here, even on in-store Wi-Fi. So yeah, that doesn't work at all. Up to the DC History Center then. And I never knew there was an inscription here. That's amazing. Kind of hard to read a little bit because of the reflection, but hopefully you get the idea. And look at the details on the gargoyles there. Noting some rules. All right. I've never really had any luck getting into the North Gallery, so I'll try the West Gallery first. And the library is usually closed, no matter when I arrive. Well, that explains it. Huh. Okay then. Well, unfortunately, due to the DC History Conference, the place is closed. But you can still see a little bit from here. I'm not sure how much you can actually read from here, but when this place is open, it's really fun to see and imagine what life must have been like around the 1900s. Through the 1960s, through multiple time periods actually. It's hard to tell through a window like this what order everything is in. But, well, another time perhaps for that. If this was a normal evening and I wasn't boycotting spending, I would totally go for some dinner here at the Capitol Burger. Their bacon old fashions are to die for. Well, those headphones are in way worse shape than mine, even if they did go through the dryer. You're coming with me to go to an e-waste center. What a shame. Actually, that's a very good reason to go back on Monday. That and actually finishing the tour of the DC History Center. Nearly 2 months after originally filming the first portion of this video, the opening schedule of DC History Center and my availability and creative energy have finally aligned to allow me to finish it by finally seeing the DC History Center for you all. These water fountains are coming in really handy today because it is so humid. I can already feel my back dripping after just 40 minutes of walking. Okay, so the exhibits have rotated here. Well, I got to school, well, college. That's why I came here almost 16 years ago, goodness, for American University. Just gotta figure out where to put it. Here-ish? And well, I will not sugarcoat it. It definitely was a privilege to be able to go to school there. I feel like things have hopefully gotten better at American University, but when I was there, it was not very racially diverse. Huh, I did not know Dunbar even existed until today. This is why it's so important to tell everybody's history and not just a sanitized version of history, President Trump. Because when you learn about each other's history, you learn about each other's perspectives. That's why I like it so much. Quite a rigorous curriculum. W.E.B. Du Bois, nice. Still reigns as true today as it did in 1936. Hers is every interest that has lacked an interpreter and a defender. Her cause is linked with that of every wrong that needs a voice. Intersectionality before it was cool. Thank you, and Julia Cooper. Well, I don't know if kids today are being prepared to take on the technology that will control the destiny of our world, because that is a algorithm, an AI program that is opaque and is often reinforcing of stereotypes. Still sage words of advice. Ooh. A couple of adorable kids are playing with the typewriter over there. Always good to know some word names in civil rights advocacy. Yeah, you know, Mr. Houston does have a point here, as it did get close to the same funding due to the requirement that the high school system be funded based on the population of each race in the city. Separate but equal was never going to really work, but again, he does make a fair point here about that. It took a little bit of finagling to remove this chip, but let's see if my child with learning differences will get robust support in the lottery game. Okay, I think the orange means that it was a match, so the lottery went in my favor that time. Oh, there we go. Here's the colors. All right. Yeah, I can see how this is a little bit more varied, and well, hopefully my second imaginary child will get in. The only war is class war. That's what it's always been. Good schools for good citizens. Well, now the play is, let's get rid of schools so we have dumb citizens and they'll keep voting in the rich against their own interests forever. Well, thank you for saying what needed to be said there. It was nice to go to Gallaudet University's campus, actually, even though I thought that I would be able to access the post office, and that's only for students. It was a little unclear on the map, but still, it was pretty cool. Okay. Yikes. Yeah, that can still happen with honors and AP classes and things like that. Why is it so often that the only time anything really gets done is when somebody sues? That happened when when my mom had to sue the state government to allow me to go to elementary school with the other kids. Quite a fascinating timeline here. Pause if you'd like to read. Oh, that's the history of Planet Word. Maybe that's my next museum. Does seem pretty cool. Just an entire museum dedicated to the written and spoken language. and historical context lined up at the bottom here. Well, nice artifact here. What's much too bad is that currently, in Trump v. Barbara, the Supreme Court is figuring out how they can winnow down the 14th Amendment without getting rid of birthright citizenship entirely. Because they know they have to please their king, but they also have to look like they're independent by handing him a loss every once in a while. And the plain text of the 14th Amendment is very clear about this. So they'll find a way, though. That's what I'm worried about. Was Boleyn v. Sharp one of the cases that got folded into Brown v. Board of Education? I'd have to double check. Oh yeah, there you go. That confirms it. What a stark difference. And of course, predictably, the Supreme Court's 2023 ruling against affirmative action, so-called, has decreased Black and brown participation in college. This high school did not change all that much, it seems, by comparison. Quite an interesting map of all the schools in DC at the time of 1915. Huh, interesting. Terrible, of course, that there were separately colored schools for separate races. Very cool to see all sorts of different pamphlets, bulletin boards, etc. here. How true this is in the age of the internet is a fascinating question. The reason being that, yes, one person can absolutely start a podcast now. I have 3. This one, HistoryFlights, The Hidden Faith, for an investigation of cults, and the Sunny Redemption Sailing, your bi-weekly-ish voyage for BSV Gaming News. So please subscribe to this channel and like the video if you'd be interested to hear more. But at the same time, there are a lot of people with typewriters. And how do you sort out the noise? That's the question. I think I do it with... How do you enter on these things? Oops. I think this typewriter is also running out of ink. I was trying to say truth, justice, and historical accuracy on a typewriter. But, well, I don't know how anybody wrote entire novels on these things. Whenever you're in DC and need to buy an Apple product, or just want to experience a little history, I hope you can come to Apple Carnegie Library, because it's one among many amazing free museums here. Thanks for coming on another HistoryFlights tour, and I hope you rest easy having learned some history.